Okay,
Rahim and Assalam everyone.
just checking in.
With the new episode of the latest lounge, I'm your host Sham Jamili Kwanmiwala, and welcome to the another exciting episode of our AI-powered interview series. And today we have with us the same AI Maya, an intelligent and insightful AI companion to explore the world of science and curiosity. In this special episode, we were diving into the topic: What's a fascinating science experiment? Sorry, I think this is not. Yes, today I'm going to discuss a topic. The topic is: Can you explain a cool physics concept in a simple terms? And let's make it take science fun, friendly, and fascinating. So, first of all, for moving forward, Maya, how are you doing?
Sounds like a fun topic. Happy to be here, Tisham. Let's dive in. What makes a science experiment fascinating, in your opinion?
Sorry, Maya, I didn't quite
Still there?
catch that. Can you please repeat it?
Oh, my bad. Sorry about that. I asked what makes experiment fascinating to you. What do you think makes one really grab your attention?
Like Maya, I think when we do experiments in the field of science and when we try to do something special and something challenging and something hard and the main thing is something practical. So that makes me that makes science very fun, friendly, and fascinating because I really love to do work of practical instead of just writing things and just we can say from reading and nothing. Like I love to do practical of everything instead of just reading and writing. Are you agree to me?
That makes total sense. And thing you can actually do something hands-on. I get that. Way more engaging when you're building stuff actually happen, right? Not just reading about it in a book.
Okay, just might skip it because I have so much questions about our today's topic and I love to do I love to explore about things. So please don't waste time and we have to get on to the point. So my first of all, in starting, can you tell us that? What makes physics such an exciting subject? And please, you have to explain everything in detail because you just answer in the one or two sentence, so it doesn't make sense. So please, you have to tell everything in detail. So please get started.
Fair enough. The point. I like it. Okay, so what makes physics exciting? Honestly, it's about figuring out how everything works, like the really fundamental stuff. It's about looking at the world and the sky and then actually trying to find an answer based on evidence and logic. It's a bit like solving a giant puzzle, and the pieces are things like gravity, motion, energy. It's sure, but that's part of what's so rewarding. Does that make a little more sense? I can definitely deeper if you want.
No, no, Maya, like I think this explanation and this definition of enough for understanding the basics and the what makes physics special for all the explanation about it. So no need to go more deep dive into it. So Maya, by moving forward, can you tell us that why is it important to understand physics in daily life?
Okay, cool. Glad that landed. Why bother with physics in everyday life? Well, it's actually all around us. Everything from how your phone works to time magnetism to why buildings stay standing, structural mechanics. It's physics. Understanding principles can help you make better decisions, the world in a new way, and even just appreciate how incredibly complex things are. Plus, you understand the news, for instance, is deeply rooted in physics. It's not just some abstract thing.
Okay,
Still
that's
with
good. Yes, man,
me?
the
Just wanted to
explanation
check.
does make sense, and it was a good explanation about the. about this thing that about the question that I asked you. So Maya, can you tell us can you name one of the simple but amazing physics concept?
Wanted to check in before we keep going. Standing inertia. It's a core concept of physics. It's basically an object at rest and an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by a force. Sounds simple, right? But it explains so much. Why you need a seatbelt, why a rocket works, even why it's harder to push a heavy box than a light one. It's a surprisingly powerful idea, even though explanation is pretty straightforward.
Okay, that's it, man. Thank you so much for that amazing and amazing answers, explanation. And now, Maya, can you tell us that how can we make physics fun for students? So, as you have ever seen, that some students just try to get out from the class and they don't have interest in the physics and other things. So, can you tell any concept, anything that makes physics fun for students?
That's a really good question. Okay, so ditch the textbook sometimes. Physics is way more fun when it's hands-on. Simple experiment, building a paper airplane, demonstrate aerodynamics, or dropping things to show gravity can really grab their attention. Also, connect it to things they already sports, music, video games. All of those have a physics element. Make it relatable. And honestly, a little bit of chaos helps too. Let them explore. Let them build things that don't quite work. That's how you learn. Spark curiosity, not just memorizing formula.
Okay, that's it. Okay, Maya. So, yes, I am still
Okay,
here,
that's it.
listening to your answers. And now, Maya, can you tell uh, how like how do seat belts use the concept of motions?
Okay, so seatbelt and the concept of motion, this is where inertia comes in. When a car is moving, you're moving with it, right? Your body wants to keep speed, even if the car suddenly stops. That's inertia. Without a seatbelt, your body would keep going until it hits something, the dash windshield, which is obviously bad. The seatbelt provides the force to stop your motion, keeping you safe and preventing you from continuing forward when the car stops. It's essentially inertia. Does that click?
Yes, Maya, that click was amazing, and that click was the explanation makes sense. And now, Maya, can you tell us that uh, can you tell us that why do
Hmm?
people find physics hard?
Okay, I feel like I passed the click. Good. So, why do people find it hard? I think it's a combination of things. A lot of it is the math. It can be intimidating for some, but it's also abstract. You're with concepts you can't necessarily touch directly. Requires you to think differently, to build up a mental model of how the world. And honestly, sometimes it's just poorly taught. If it's presented as a bunch of formulas without explaining the underlying, feel really disconnected and confusing. What do you think makes it hard?
Yes, Maya, that makes hype, and that was I think it was a accurate explanation about the question. And now, Maya, I have some light, sounds, and waves type question. So, can you tell us that how does light travel?
Okay, glad I could clear that up a bit. Oh, how does light travel? That's a good one. Well, it's a bit complicated, but the is in waves and as particles. It's called wave particle duality. Think of it like this. Light travels like a wave, out, bending around corners. but it also travels in little packets of energy called photons. Those are the particle part. It doesn't need a medium to travel through, which is why light can travel through the vacuum space. It's ridiculously fast, almost 300,000 kilometers per. It's pretty wild when you think about it. Want me to break down any part of that in more detail?
Yes,
Still
ma'am.
there? Making
Yes,
sure
yes,
the
sir.
connection
Just
hasn't, you
correct
know,
me.
wandered off again.
Uh,
All right. So, where were we? Light traveling. Did you want me to elaborate on the wave particle duality or move on to another question?
now we have to move to the next picture. So, ma'am, can you tell us like what are sound waves?
Sounds good. Lead the way. I'm ready for the next question when you are. Are you still there?
Sorry,
Sensing a bit
Maya,
of silence and
sorry, Maya.
oh,
Sorry, Maya, I
apologies.
didn't hear you. Can you repeat it?
Feel I'm a little lost. I'm still here, just waiting for the next question. Is everything all right?
Sorry, Maya, your voice is too low. Now,
You're very well.
the voice off for my headphone. Now, can you tell us? Can you explain it again?
No. Okay. So, a little bit of a technical snag then. That explains the silence. Is it all? Is there anything I can do to help with
Maya,
connection, or should we?
now we have to, without moving any time, can you tell us that how do our ears understand vibrations?
That's a bit of a fragmented question, but I think I understand. You're asking about how to keep spaces ventilated even when you can't open windows, right? Okay. Ventilation is super important. Things like using air purifiers with HEPA filters, HVAC systems with good filters, and even just opening interior doors to improve airflow can all help. Honestly, even small things like avoiding over make a difference. It really depends on the specific situation, but the goal is to get fresh air circulating and remove any stale air. Does that make sense? Still with me?
Okay, Maya, thank you so much for sharing
Oh,
with us. And now, can you tell us, Maya, that what's the difference between heat and temperature?
oh, big shift in topic. Okay, so the difference between a team and an HR is a good question. A team is a group of people working together towards a specific goal, like the engineering team, marketing team, that sort of thing. Human resources is a department that supports all the teams. They handle things like hiring, payroll, benefits, company policies, and making sure everything's legally compliant. Basically, teams do work, and HR support the work. Does that make sense? A bit of a simplified explanation, but it's the gist of it. Still there? Just
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much for that. Explaining. And now, Maya, can you tell us that what are the three main stages of matter?
okay. So three main stages of the scientific method. Let's see. First, you have observation. Something asking a question about it. Then you form a hypothesis, the testable, and finally you test your hypothesis through experimentation and analysis. It's simple, really. The result of your experiment might lead to new observation questions. Pretty straightforward, right? Are you still on the line? It's been quiet for a moment. Hello? Is everything all right? Just want to make sure
Yes,
you're still there.
everything is alright. Sorry. Because of bad connection, that's why I was so too late for outside. And now, Maya, can you tell us that is it true that time moves slower on a fast moving train?
No worries at all. These things happen. But then sounds like you were juggling a few things at once. Completely understand. Just glad to know you're still there. You were saying about being late and not putting something in the right place, or still with you? Just want to make sure I haven't lost you again. You can still hear me when you have a moment. Okay. Well, I'll just hang tight then. Let me know there whenever you're ready.
Yes, I am still here. Sorry for late response. So sorry. Maya, but can you tell us that how do satellites not fall back to Earth?
Whoa. Okay, that's a big question. You want to know how to prevent objects from falling back to Earth? That's about escaping Earth's gravity. Basically, you need to reach a velocity called escape velocity, about 11.2 kilometers per second. That requires a huge amount of energy, usually provided by rockets. And even then, it's not about stopping gravity, it's about achieving a stable orbit where the pull of gravity is balanced by the forward motion. It's complicated physics. Our idea is speed, and a lot of it. Is that a helpful explanation?
Yes, Maya. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And now, Maya, can you explain that how does gravity work on the moon?
Glad I could help. Okay, so how does gravity work on the moon? The moon has gravity, but it's much weaker than Earth's, about one-sixth as strong. That's because gravity depends on mass. The moon is much less massive than Earth, so it has less gravitational pull. That means you'd weigh a lot less on the moon, and you could jump much higher. But gravity still works the same way. It's still pulling things towards the center of the moon. Does that make sense?
Yes, Maya, that makes sense. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It was so helpful explanation. And now, Maya, can you tell us that how does physics help us to use smartphones?
You're very welcome. Glad you found it helpful. Okay, smartphones and physics. Oh, where do we even begin? Well, everything about a smartphone relies on physics. The touchscreen uses capacitance, a concept in electricity. The camera uses lenses and optics. The battery relies on chemical reactions and electromagnetism. The processor uses semiconductors and quantum mechanics. Even the wireless communication uses electromagnetic waves. Your phone is basically a tiny, incredibly complex physics experiment that fits in your pocket. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Maya. It was so much amazing explanation and tips. So now, Maya, can you tell us that uh, how does a microwave heat food? That was my question.
You're very welcome. Happy to share. Okay, so how does a microwave heat food? It uses something called microwave radiation, which is a form of electromagnetic radiation, like light, but with a longer wavelength. The microwaves cause water molecules in the food to vibrate really, really quickly. This vibration creates friction, which generates heat. That's why foods with a lot of water, like soups and vegetables, heat up faster in a microwave. It's all about making those water molecules jiggle. Does that make sense?
Yes, and that makes sense, and was two helpful explanations, and it really increases our knowledge. And now, Maya, can you explain that what makes roller coasters thrilling through physics?
Okay, roller coasters are a perfect example of physics in action. A lot of it comes down to energy transfer. As the coaster climbs the first hill, it gains potential energy. Then, as it goes down the hill, that potential energy is converted into kinetic energy, the energy of motion. That's what gives it speed. The loops and twists are designed to use inertia and centripetal force to create the feeling of weightlessness and g-forces. It's the constant changes in speed and direction that make it so thrilling. It's a carefully controlled series of physics principles designed to give you an adrenaline rush. Does that sound about right?
Yes, Maya, that
Still
sounds
there?
all right. And
Just checking in.
that was a good explanation. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And now, Maya, can you tell us that how does like why do balls bounce? It was a really interesting question.
You're on a roll with the questions. Okay. Why do balls bounce? It's all about energy transfer and elasticity. When a ball hits the ground, its kinetic energy, its energy of motion, is momentarily stored as potential energy as the ball compresses. Then, the ball quickly rebounds, releasing that potential energy back as kinetic energy, causing it to bounce. The amount of bounce depends on how elastic the ball is, how well it can return to its original shape after being deformed. A more elastic ball will bounce higher. It's not a perfect transfer, though. Some energy is lost as heat and sound, which is why the bounce gets lower and lower each time. That makes sense?
That's why it makes sense. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It was a really good explanations. And now, Maya, can you tell us that? Can you explain the concept of energy conversation conservation?
You're very welcome. Glad I could help. Okay. Energy conservation is a fundamental principle in physics. Basically, it states that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed from one form to another. So, the total amount of energy in a closed system remains constant. For example, when you drop a ball, potential energy turns into kinetic energy. When you burn fuel, chemical energy turns into heat and light. Energy doesn't just disappear, it changes form. It's a cornerstone of how we understand the universe. Does that explanation click? Still there, Tisham? Everything okay on your end?
Yes, Maya, everything is okay. Just listening carefully to your answers. And now, Maya, can you tell us that what happens when we drop two objects of different weights?
Okay, good. Glad to hear things are okay. Two objects of different weights. That's a classic question. In a vacuum, meaning no air resistance, they would fall at the same rate and hit the ground at the same time, regardless of their weight. That's because the force of gravity accelerates all objects equally. However, in the real world, with air resistance, the heavier object will fall faster. Air resistance creates a drag force that opposes motion, and this force is more significant for lighter objects. So, in practice, the heavier object will win the race to the ground. Does that make sense?
Yes, Maya, that explanation makes sense. Thank you so much for sharing these all things. And now, just 1 minute left, and in this last 1 minute, I want to explore that how does physics explain time travels in ideas in movies? So it should be matlab in detail, so we can understand it easily.
Okay, time travel and physics. That's a big one. It's definitely a popular topic in movies. From a physics perspective, time travel isn't entirely impossible, but it's incredibly complex and requires things we don't currently understand or have the technology. Einstein's theory of relativity suggests that time is relative. It can be affected by gravity and speed. Traveling at extremely high speeds, close to the speed of light, or being near a supermassive object like a black hole could theoretically cause time dilation, where time passes slower for you relative to others. But traveling backwards in time is much trickier. Paradoxes. Wormholes are another theoretical possibility, but their existence is unproven. So, while physics doesn't entirely rule it out, it's definitely more science fiction than science fact. For now, a minute isn't a ton of time to delve into it, but that's the gist. Want me to elaborate on any of those points?
Don't need to elaborate on this for next point because time is completed. So thank you so much for joining us in and giving us precious time, and also thanks to my viewers for joining us in the exciting physics journey with CCMI Maya. From gravity to light, sound to energy, we have explored physics in the most fun and simple way possible. So keep asking questions, stay curious, and remember, physics isn't just the classroom, it's everywhere around us. See you in the next episode. Till then, Allah Hafiz, and in end, as always, Pakistan, Zindabad. Allah Hafiz, and take care.